Hey guys, welcome back. So now getting back into our talks about the Batman Who Laughs, whose plans have been just so wild and so left field that has driven Batman to the point of completely giving in to the Joker toxin. And part of me has this say it ain't so kind of thing going on, but on the other side, I'm kind of glad we finally get to see what that visor does and how the Batman Who Laughs sees through it. So one way or the other, somebody had to figure it out, and Batman was like, why not me? So let's get into it. But first, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week, and don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squad up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so first and foremost, I gotta say the way that Scott Snyder delivers this is completely genius, because just looking at Batman throughout the years and the history between him and the different Robins, especially Dick Grayson, the first Robin, like when he took them in, he considered Dick to be like his son. And much like I talked about on the Nightwing playlist, Dick figured out early on that he did not want to be like Bruce. And in spite of the tragic murder of his family, he had always held on to that happy background from those days in the circus that had really stuck with him all the way through to becoming Nightwing. And for Bruce, thinking back on this, like, he would never really openly admit it, but for the longest time, the only little shimmers or glimpses of happiness that he would get, they would come through seeing through the eyes of the different Robins, whom all of which Bruce considers to be his own children, whether blood related or not. And really collectively, between them and Alfred, for Bruce, they're really like the only family that he has. And so when we jump over to that moment when Bruce had fully given in to the Joker toxin, it's like we get this moment of what Bruce missed, because when he does this in order to implement the task of seeing through the eyes of the Batman Who Laughs, like completely giving into the Joker toxin and creating his own visor made from the dark metal he's collected around Gotham, it's like in this moment he fails to realize that Alfred also looks through him as his own child as well. But when Bruce gives in completely to this toxin and creates this visor, it's almost like Alfred doesn't even see his son anymore. And it's like the dichotomy is pretty crazy, because when Alfred sees this, he immediately snatches the visor from him. But Bruce, who is for the most part still Bruce, and I'm gonna talk about that for a little bit in just a minute, but Bruce explains to Alfred that the same way that the Batman Who Laughs uses this visor to peep into the dark multiverse, like this visor allows him to peep through the membrane of the dark multiverse, and it allows the Batman Who Laughs to see people's urges, their desires, their fears, but it also allows him to focus in and see what he wants to see. So with that said, there's still a bit of control when you're using it. But real quick, like I said, I want to talk a bit about Batman in the state that he's in at this moment, and what I'd mentioned about quite a bit of him still being Bruce, because unlike the Batman Who Laughs, who had a blunt introduction to the Joker toxin at the moment when he murdered the Joker, this Batman, his transition has been a bit more gradual. And not to say that the Joker toxin that he was introduced to was any less powerful, but with him immediately using every cure that he had on deck for a period of time before completely giving in, it's like he had a while to kind of navigate his way through this. And even going back to the beginning of the series when he met up with Commissioner Gordon, like when the Bruce Waynes from the dark multiverse just started popping up out of nowhere, we'd seen him wrestle back and forth with this toxin that's trying to take over his body for a good while prior to this point where he finally gave in. And even with him giving in, it's more like he's mounted this beast that's raging within him, because skipping forward to now when he's in the Batcave with Alfred, Alfred is beating the brakes off of him, like, I'm not going to let you do this. Like, this is not who Batman is. And to be honest, like, I wouldn't have been mad if they would have thrown some onomatopoeia right here. That would have just been classic Batman, like bat boom pow. But even still, with the Joker toxin telling him to fight back, and it's trying to convince him that Alfred wants to hurt him, but Bruce never swings back, but instead he does say some rather hurtful words to Alfred about him carrying Alfred out of pity, like Alfred's always been holding him back. But immediately Bruce eases up, because he realizes the reason why he truly keeps Alfred around is because he considers him to be family. And it's clear that Alfred's more concerned with losing Bruce in this whole process. But for Bruce, the way he sees it, what he is and who he is, and that being Batman, that is not about himself, but it's about Gotham. And because of that, just being who he is, he has to do whatever it takes.
Let's go get this son of a bitch.
To stop the Batman Who Laughs. But after Batman leaves Alfred using the visor and riding through Gotham, he can see different people's ambitions, their optimism, their dreams, the same way that the Batman Who Laughs could. And very much like how the person who's wielding it has a choice of what they see and what they don't see, Bruce also notices the toxin within him trying to veer him towards looking at the negative side of people. And as he's driving by, it's crazy how the lady with the stroller is like that's how you feel? Like, she need to catch a batarang ASAP. But during this time while Bruce Bruce is riding along, he also gets a call from James Gordon, who's kind of catching him up on his progress as far as tracking down the Batman who laughs through the waterways. And when James Gordon Jr. reaches out, he really doesn't have any progress to report or check in, but rather he's just calling Bruce to see if he's okay. And Bruce brushes it off like, yeah, I'm fine, just let me know when you hear or see something. But before getting off the comms, James told him that he remembers the time that he was a psychopath. And even with him being cured at this point, he still misses that way of thinking. And James explains to him that it wasn't the killing that made him that psychopath, but it was that belief behind it. Because James was who he was before he acted on any of those thoughts. And in this conversation, he hints towards he's still that same person even now. But the only difference with him now being quote unquote cured is that sense of guilt from inflicting pain. But when he inflicted it, he did it to people who he felt like deserved it. So to him, in his mind, to a level it made sense. But now being quote unquote cured, like it doesn't make any sense to him anymore. And it was at that point where he had asked Batman, like, so when this is all over, like what is your contingency plan? Like what is your plan to take care of yourself? And Batman didn't answer. But while heading on his way to intercept the Batman who laughs, his mind went back to the point where he had created that contingency, which was like 3 hours ago. I'm winging it, I'm bat winging it, I'm just making this up as I go. But what had taken place 3 hours ago when he came up with this plan, he had ran into the Joker, who had actually sought out Batman after leaving the Batcave, while Batman was still in the waterways just testing the different waters. And when the Joker crept up on him, it caught him by surprise, and he thought the Joker had came there to either kill him or just brag about him being infected with the Joker toxin. And the Joker's like, no, this isn't what I wanted. And as a matter of fact, the Joker makes it clear that he does not want to kill Batman, but instead he came here to wish him luck. Because one, he would much rather him and Batman go back and forth till the end of time, because for the Joker, it's more about playing the game rather than winning it. But it was also in this conversation between the two of them where Batman's like, hey, look, I know Alfred won't do what needs to be done if it comes to the worst. And if I turn into this monster, the Batman who laughs, I need you to do what Alfred won't be able to do. And they had this moment where the Joker's like, yeah, I'll do it, I'll kill you. Cross my heart, hope to die. And saying it while pointing to the scars on his chest, which was perfect. And they shared a laugh in this moment. And it was funny. But even in this moment here with the Joker wishing Batman the best of luck, it is very much a reflection on our talks about how disgusted the Joker is with the Batman who laughs, and how his involvement with Lex Luthor not only caused the Joker to quit the Legion of Doom, but also stopped the Joker from killing the Legion of Doom altogether. Because there's just something about the Batman who laughs who just takes a smile off of his face. But getting back to Batman, who at this time has found a location at Blackgate Prison where he believes the Batman who laughs is going to strike next. And the way that he narrowed this down is that after he put on the visor, he noticed that the remaining dark metal within Gotham actually played a key component to these doors that the Batman who laughs was opening and grabbing these bruises from the dark dimension. But as he's sneaking his way in, this officer stops him, and before Batman turns around, he removes his visor, which is pretty important because the officer told him, you're the Batman who laughs, I got you, don't move or I'll shoot. But Batman's like, look, I'm not who you think I am. I know you, first name, last name, your family, your daughter, to whom all of which he names, and even goes as far to tell him that his daughter has this little stuffed Batman that laughs when she squeezes it, of which he's not very fond of because he's Batman. And the officer's like, oh, okay, well that sounds about right. Carry on. And so when Batman turns away and then puts back on the visor, immediately he's shot over to the dark multiverse. The doors open, it's taking him in, and he's in a Blackgate facility 6 times the one that's actually on Earth Zero. And of course, this Blackgate is being seen over by Bruce Wayne. And just moments after this Bruce Wayne approaches him, they slide right back to Earth Zero. And as soon as this happens, Batman's like, okay, good, I have this Bruce Wayne, he's safe here with David Harper. Then boom, a wall shuts in between them, and seconds later Harper pulls out a knife, kills this Bruce Wayne, and he tells Batman that he knows of his methods of seeing through the eyes of his children. And previously with Dick and the others, it's all been a lie. But right here and now, you look into the eyes of your truest child, the Batman who laughs. And like, with the exception of the cowl that he wore before the visor, we actually get our first look at the eyes and the face of the Batman who laughs. And now I truly understand why the Joker don't be laughing no more when he see this guy. But seconds later, he reinitiates his digital mask, posing once again as David Harper, and he tells the other guards that this is the Batman who laughs, he just killed Bruce Wayne, like open fire and let him have it. And the guards are just like, okay. And they just start shooting at Batman, and he wasn't even laughing. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Hopefully Batman uses all the metal that is so abundant in this area to his advantage, because I believe there's a lot more to this visor than just seeing how somebody feeling when you want to. But let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments, and we'll do it again in the next one. Alright, later.